Have you ever come across a seemingly ordinary coin lying in your change jar or slipped into your wallet that could secretly be worth hundreds of dollars? What if I told you that a simple 1975 1-cent coin, yes, just a penny from Denver minted in 1975, could hold a jaw-dropping historical value of $352 and has made waves in the world of rare coin collectors for being one of the most surprisingly valuable pieces in American numismatic history? Welcome to our channel where we explore the fascinating world of coins that might just be sitting unnoticed in your home but have the potential to change your financial perspective forever. And today's incredible focus is on the underrated, often overlooked 1975 Lincoln penny, a coin that has sparked debates, sent collectors on wild hunts, and become a silent legend in the coin community due to its unique production quirks, minting anomalies, and historical circumstances that have all come together to elevate its value from just 1 cent to a staggering $352 in certain collector markets, with some pristine versions even fetching more depending on grade, certification, and rarity elements. And while it might sound unbelievable at first, the reasons why this tiny piece of copper has grown into a numismatic treasure are not just logical but rooted in well-documented events from the mid-70s American mint processes, starting with the fact that in 1975, the U.S. Mint did not produce any quarter dollars with the 1975 date, instead jumping directly to bicentennial quarters for 1976, which makes the 1975 coinage, including the penny, especially symbolic of an era in American history, and the Denver Mint struck these coins with copper alloy composition, specifically the 95% copper and 5% zinc combination that had been standard until 1982. Making these coins heavier and more robust than their modern counterparts. But beyond the composition, the real reason this coin has drawn such attention lies in its striking errors, rare double dies, off-center misprints, weak strikes, filled mint marks, repunched mint marks, RPMs, and the extremely sought-after high-grade uncirculated examples which, when professionally graded by services like PCGS or NGC, often reveal qualities of craftsmanship and preservation that far exceed normal circulation pieces. And collectors have become obsessed with tracking down varieties where, for instance, Lincoln's profile shows subtle doubling on the date or Liberty inscription, or the D mint mark appears clearly repunched or slightly misaligned, and these minting mistakes, which may seem like minor flaws, are actually the very traits that push the value of such a penny into the hundreds of dollars, especially when demand outweighs the supply of such rare versions, and due to the growing interest in era coins and the increasing population of amateur collectors scouring eBay, estate sales, garage bins, and old piggy banks, the spotlight on the 1975 penny has only intensified, particularly for those examples that retain strong luster, full details on Lincoln's hair and coat, and minimal wear on the reverse lettering around the Lincoln Memorial. And when a coin meets all those conditions and is verified by a professional grading company to be in mint state 65 or above, it can not only fetch $352 but even more in auction settings where competitive bidding pushes final sale prices to unpredictable heights. And let's not forget that some of these coins have been discovered in bank rolls or inherited collections where the owner had no idea of their worth, making it all the more thrilling to know that one lucky find could lead to a massive payday for an unsuspecting individual. And diving deeper into the production year of 1975, we find that inflation, rising copper prices, and the looming shift in coin composition meant that coins from this transitional period hold special interest for researchers and collectors alike. And many numismatists argue that coins from this era mark the final stretch of what they consider the classic Lincoln cents, untainted by the cost-saving zinc-plated steel models that would come later, and this philosophical value tied to the 1975 penny only adds more weight to its allure, especially among seasoned collectors who appreciate the deeper narratives that coins carry. Narratives that reflect the economic, political, and technological circumstances of their time, and the penny itself becomes a kind of time capsule, preserving not only the image of Abraham Lincoln but the hidden story of American coinage evolution. And beyond the coin's metal and design, there's the human side, the thrill of the hunt, the satisfaction of discovery. and the personal stories of those who've stumbled upon a small copper coin only to find it change their life, or at least open a door into a hobby that can be both financially rewarding and intellectually stimulating. And you'd be surprised how many people have taken up coin collecting because of a story like this one, a story where an average coin with an unusual feature sold for hundreds and captured imaginations worldwide. And now with social media, YouTube, and online auction platforms playing such a large role in information sharing, these coins gain popularity and visibility at lightning speed, which further increases their demand and value. Especially when influencers and experts weigh in with authentication videos, comparison guides, and grading walkthroughs, and the 1975 D penny remains at the center of many such discussions, often cited as a perfect beginner's coin for new collectors and a hot target for seasoned ones. And there's something universally satisfying about knowing that a coin once minted to be nearly worthless could now be the key to unlocking serious value. And for that reason alone, the 1975 D 1-cent coin deserves all the attention it's getting in numismatic circles. And even if you think you'd never be the one to find such a coin, consider this. Many people have unknowingly had rare coins in their possession for years without ever realizing their significance. So checking your coin jar, your wallet, your old drawers might just turn out to be the most profitable 5 minutes of your life. And with values like $352 attached to what appears to be just a simple penny. The importance of education and awareness in coin collecting cannot be overstated. So whether you're an experienced numismatist or someone hearing about this for the first time, now is the perfect time to get involved, learn more, and maybe even profit from something you already own. And if you've enjoyed this deep dive into the 1975 D penny and its fascinating value story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more rare coin insights, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on discovering the hidden treasures in your own change. Next, what if I told you that a tiny copper-colored coin that might be lying unnoticed in your pocket change, the 2015 D 1-cent USA coin, could actually be worth up to $40 due to its rare historical value, unique mint errors, and collector demand? And that knowledge alone could be your gateway into the incredible world of coin collecting, where ordinary people discover extraordinary fortunes simply by paying attention to the tiniest details on the most unassuming items. Welcome to our deep dive into the unexpected story of the 2015 D Lincoln penny, a coin with a face value of just 1 cent but a real-world value that can multiply dramatically due to a confluence of factors including rarity, error variations, die breaks, double dies, off-center strikes, and historical significance within the mintage year that has numismatists and enthusiasts alike combing through their change jars and penny rolls in hopes of uncovering a hidden gem because the Denver Mint struck billions of pennies that year, yet only a small fraction contained the features that make them valuable. And understanding what makes this particular coin so fascinating begins with knowing that the 2015 D penny belongs to the Modern Shield Reverse Design series, which started in 2010 to replace the 4 Lincoln Bicentennial Reverse Designs of 2009. And while most 2015 D pennies are perfectly ordinary, a limited number carry unique manufacturing anomalies such as die cracks that appear like spider-webbed lines across Lincoln's face or the Union Shield on the reverse, or double dies that create a ghost-like secondary image visible on the date, the motto, "In God We Trust," or the word, "Liberty." And these small but powerful errors happen when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between strikes, creating a rare but very real phenomenon that collectors pay serious money for. And then there are off-center strikes where the coin blank, known as a planchet, isn't correctly aligned with the dies during minting, leading to coins that are visibly misaligned with part of the design missing. And the greater the off-center percentage while still showing a date, the more valuable the coin becomes, making some 2015 D pennies with 30% or more off-center strikes worth exponentially more than their face value. And let's not forget the die clashes which occur when the coin dies strike each other without a planchet between them, transferring some elements of one die's design onto the other, which then impresses ghost images onto subsequent coins, something that has been reported on 2015 D pennies in certain batches, making them prized by error collectors who appreciate the stories that these production mistakes tell about the minting process itself, And another valuable attribute is the presence of repunched mint marks or RPMs, where the D for Denver has been punched more than once into the die in a slightly misaligned fashion, causing a shadowed or doubled appearance that is only visible under magnification but adds significant value. And when you add in the fact that some coins were struck on improper planchets or with improperly annealed metal, leading to unusual colors, textures, or weight differences that stand out when weighed on a gram scale, you start to realize how much complexity lies within what most people overlook as a simple penny. And beyond the physical characteristics lies the historical and collector-based context that makes this coin so desirable, because by 2015 the penny had been under political and economic scrutiny with discussions in Congress about potentially eliminating it due to the cost of production being greater than its monetary value, and that tension adds a layer of intrigue and urgency to the collecting of modern pennies, especially ones with errors, as people hedge against the possibility that these coins could soon become obsolete or be seen as relics of an era that's ending, which further increases their long-term value among collectors and investors alike. And what's even more fascinating is the growing influence of social media platforms like TikTok and YouTube, where viral videos showcasing people finding valuable coins in circulation have sparked a renewed wave of interest in numismatics among younger generations who now actively seek out coins like the 2015 D penny with magnifiers, scales, and reference guides, hoping to identify the types of features that can boost its value from 1 cent to $5, $10, $20, and yes, even $40 depending on the grade, rarity, and error type, especially when certified by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC, which authenticate and encapsulate coins with detailed labels describing their unique features. And some of the most valuable examples of the 2015 D penny have been sold at online auctions, coin shows, and collector forums where bidding wars break out over rare varieties such as double die obverse, DDO, or reverse, DDR, specimens. And the condition of the coin also plays a major role, with uncirculated or mint state coins, especially those graded MS67 or higher, commanding premiums due to their pristine appearance and low population in top grades. And when we examine population reports, we find that while billions were minted, only a tiny handful have survived in high enough grades with rare errors to be considered truly valuable, making them both a collector's dream and a symbol of hidden value in everyday life. And the thrill of the hunt drives thousands of people each year to sort through bankrolls, estate sales, flea markets, and garage sales in hopes of striking numismatic gold by finding a 2015 D penny with the right combination of features to make it worth far more than face value. And even beyond the financial gain, many collectors enjoy the intellectual and historical aspects of coin collecting, learning about the U.S. Mint, metallurgical processes, and the design evolution of American currency, which all come into play with the story of the 2015 D penny, a coin that may look simple but represents an entire universe of economic, historical, and mechanical narratives wrapped into a tiny copper-plated zinc disc. And whether you're new to collecting or a seasoned numismatist, keeping an eye out for these valuable 2015 D pennies could turn your casual hobby into a profitable pursuit, or at the very least offer the thrill of discovery that so many treasure hunters seek. So before you spend that next penny or overlook that little copper coin at the bottom of your drawer, remember that its real value could be hiding in plain sight, and that understanding these subtle details might just lead you to one of the greatest small-scale finds in modern American coinage history. And if you found this story interesting and you want more fascinating insights into valuable coins, hidden treasures, and everyday items worth big money, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and tap the bell icon so you never miss out on our next big discovery. Next, today we are diving deep into a surprising and incredibly fascinating story about a coin you might overlook every single day, the 1983 1-cent USA coin, a coin that was intended to be just another part of everyday change, yet due to a series of extraordinary errors, minting quirks, and historical timing, it has been known to fetch up to $129 or more. A staggering figure when compared to its original face value of a mere 1 cent. So if you're a coin collector, a hobbyist, or even just someone Curious about how such a small piece of metal can transform into a valuable artifact? Then you're in the right place, because we are going to unravel all the intricacies, the minting mishaps, and the rarity factors that contribute to this coin's newfound fame and financial potential. And by the end of this journey, you might just be inspired to check your spare change drawer, your old coin jar, or even the bottom of your car's cup holder, because who knows, you might be unknowingly sitting on a valuable slice of American numismatic history. So let's begin with the backdrop to this unexpected treasure, because understanding why the 1983 1-cent coin can command over $100 begins with the story of America's coinage transition, specifically the significant metal composition change that occurred just before this coin's minting. In 1982, the U.S. Mint shifted from primarily using copper to using copper-plated zinc for their 1-cent coins due to rising costs of copper and economic practicality. This change introduced a new era in U.S. coinage and opened the door to a series of unexpected issues, and 1983 marked the first full year that all 1-cent coins were struck in the new copper-coated zinc planchets, which on the surface seemed like a seamless transition, but in reality it led to an array of anomalies. Primarily because the mint was still mastering the properties of the new material, and this is where things get interesting, because among the coins produced in 1983 were a number of errors that would later become sought after by collectors and enthusiasts, including double dies, die breaks, off-center strikes, and most notably, a small handful of extremely rare 1983 cents mistakenly struck on bronze planchets left over from previous years. These planchet errors are the crown jewel of 1983 1-cent coin anomalies, because they bridge the old and new eras of minting, and their rarity is so pronounced that when verified by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, they can command prices far exceeding $129, sometimes even reaching into the thousands. But even beyond these extraordinary specimens, many 1983 1-cent coins with more common but still significant minting errors have been known to reach or exceed the $129 threshold, especially when in uncirculated condition or possessing visual appeal to collectors. So what exactly are the types of errors that make this coin so valuable? Let's explore them in depth, starting with the double die reverse error, arguably the most famous among 1983 cents, in which the letters in 1 cent, e pluribus unum, and the Lincoln Memorial on the back of the coin appear to be slightly but clearly doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. These double dies are visually striking and highly prized by collectors, and if your coin features strong doubling that is visible to the naked eye, especially on the reverse side, then it's a prime candidate for elevated value. Next we have off-center strikes, another category of errors where the coin design is struck off its intended center due to mechanical issues during minting. The degree of off-centering affects the coin's rarity and value. The further off-center while still retaining a visible date, the more valuable the coin becomes. And some 1983 cents have been found with significant off-center errors, fetching high premiums among enthusiasts who specifically collect off-strike errors. And then there's the issue of die cracks and die breaks, which occur when the die used to strike the coin becomes damaged and develops fractures. These fractures can result in raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin's surface, often referred to as cuds. And while each individual die crack might not make a coin extremely valuable, dramatic or visually appealing examples can add collector appeal and increase value, especially when combined with other error features. And another fascinating mistake involves the presence of clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin's edge is missing due to a misfeed during blanking. These clips, if clean and significant in size, can increase desirability among collectors, and their prices can escalate when paired with the historical relevance of the 1983 minting year. And yet perhaps the most compelling and mysterious error tied to the 1983 cent is the aforementioned rare bronze planchet strike. These coins were supposed to be long gone by 1983, replaced by the new zinc-based blanks, yet a few bronze planchets remained in the minting machinery or storage bins and were inadvertently used, producing coins that resemble pre-1982 copper cents in weight and color. And because the difference in composition is subtle to the naked eye, many of these coins went unnoticed for years, only to be later identified by weighing them on a precise scale. Genuine 1983 bronze cents weigh approximately 3.11 grams as opposed to the standard 2.5 grams for copper-plated zinc coins, and any coin with this higher weight should immediately raise suspicions and warrant further testing because if authenticated, such a coin can easily be worth thousands of dollars depending on condition, strike quality, and grading, and for the average collector or the lucky individual who stumbles across such a piece, this represents a true treasure, a hidden gem among pocket change. And the 1983 cent also falls into the era of increased coin collecting interest, meaning that more attention has been given to the various anomalies that arise from this time, and as technology and research tools improved, so did the community's ability to detect even subtle errors that previously might have been ignored, such as die deterioration doubling, which, while not as valuable as true double dies, still carry interest when well defined and catalogued. And another point to consider is the aesthetic quality and overall eye appeal of the coin, because even without major errors, a 1983 cent with perfect luster, full strike, and no signs of circulation can fetch a premium, especially when graded MS66 or higher by professional services, and when such high-grade coins also display even minor anomalies, their value can jump significantly. Now let's dive a bit deeper into the reasons why collectors are willing to pay so much for these coins. Numismatics, the study and collection of currency, values uniqueness, rarity, and historical significance above all, and the 1983 cent fits all three categories. Due to its transitional nature, the presence of multiple verified error types, and its connection to the early 1980s economic shifts that impacted U.S. coinage strategy, and collectors often pursue error coins as a way to tell a larger story about minting practices, policy changes, and mechanical challenges, making pieces like the 1983 cent central to their narrative. And while many people overlook these coins or dismiss them as mere pennies, seasoned numismatists understand their potential. And online marketplaces like eBay, heritage auctions, and great collections regularly showcase listings for 1983 cents with elevated prices, sometimes closing at values well above $129 depending on the coin's specifics, and this market visibility only further drives interest and inflates demand, reinforcing the coin's worth as more than just a monetary denomination. It becomes a conversation piece, a collectible, a lesson in minting history, and a testament to how error can unexpectedly lead to fortune. So what should you do if you believe you have a valuable 1983 cent in your possession? First, examine the coin under good lighting and with a magnifying glass. Look for the doubling on the reverse lettering, assess whether the strike appears centered, check the edges for clips or strange shapes, and most importantly, weigh the coin using a precise gram scale because if it comes in at or near 3.11 grams, you could be looking at an extremely rare bronze planchet strike, and if any anomaly seems promising, consider submitting your coin to a third-party grading service like PCGS, NGC, or ANAX, who can verify authenticity, assign a grade, and encapsulate your coin in a protective holder with certification, and such verification not only confirms the coin's value but also makes it easier to sell in the collector's market should you choose to part with it. And with proper certification and appealing condition, your seemingly ordinary 1-cent coin could become a historic and lucrative investment, adding you to the growing list of lucky individuals who discovered treasure where they least expected it. And as we wrap up this incredible deep dive into the value, mystery, and appeal of the 1983 1-cent USA coin, let it serve as a reminder that not everything of worth glitters like gold or costs a fortune at first glance. Sometimes the most extraordinary finds come in the most common disguises, and that old jar of pennies might just hold more than loose change. It might be the gateway to a forgotten story. Next, today we're going deep into the fascinating world of a coin that nearly everyone has seen, touched, or even tossed aside without a second thought: the 2014 D1-cent coin, a small copper-plated zinc piece that was minted by the billions but has recently captured the attention of collectors, investors, and curious enthusiasts all around the globe due to the presence of minting errors and anomalies that have made specific examples of this coin worth as much as $23 or even more in certain conditions. And while that may not sound like a lottery jackpot, it is still a 2,200% increase in value over its original worth, and in the world of numismatics where every little detail matters, a few cents turning into a few dollars can mark the beginning of a deeper journey into discovering more rare finds and developing a rewarding passion for coins. So in today's episode we will take you through the intricate story behind the 2014 D penny, explaining exactly why it's become such a sought-after piece in recent years, what makes it stand out, what types of minting mistakes have occurred, and how you can check your own collection to see if you might just be holding one of these valuable coins right now. So sit tight as we take a deep dive into everything from double die errors to die chips, from off-center strikes to plating bubbles, from misaligned dies to struck-through grease errors. And as we explore these minting anomalies, we'll also provide context as to how these mistakes occurred in the minting process at the Denver Mint, and why these specific flaws have caught the attention of collectors, especially those who understand how modern pennies, even those minted in vast numbers, can carry significant worth if they bear a unique error. So let's start at the beginning by understanding what exactly happened during the 2014 D penny's production that allowed error coins to slip through the Mint's quality control systems and make their way into circulation and collections across the United States. First, it's important to recognize that 2014 was a year of continued production challenges as the United States Mint continued to use copper-plated zinc planchets, a composition introduced in the early 1980s as a cost-saving measure replacing the pure copper planchets of earlier decades. While efficient in theory, this composition introduced a host of new problems into the minting process because the thin copper coating was susceptible to plating issues, especially when combined with the high-speed pressures and mass production environment of the modern minting facilities, meaning any minor inconsistency in the plating process could result in defects like blisters, bubbles, or exposed zinc, all of which lower the integrity of the coin's surface but simultaneously increase its collectible value if those issues are distinct, visible, and authenticated. And among the most frequently encountered and highly sought-after errors on the 2014 D penny is the presence of die chips or die breaks, particularly those occurring on Lincoln's face, beard, bow tie, or along the edge of the shield reverse design introduced in 2010. These die chips result when a small piece of the coining die breaks away, leaving a void that gets filled with metal during each subsequent strike, producing a raised bump or blob of metal on the surface of the coin, and when these blobs are in unusual places, like on Lincoln's eye making it look like he's crying, or on the shield making it appear malformed, these coins can fetch significant premiums online and in collector markets because they represent a clear and visually intriguing departure from the intended design. But that's not all, because 2014 D pennies are also known to show doubling in the lettering, especially in the word liberty and the motto "In God We Trust," both on the obverse side of the coin, as well as in the 1 cent and "E pluribus unum" inscriptions on the reverse side. This kind of doubling, referred to as a double die error, is among the most exciting types of errors to collectors because it reflects a fundamental mistake in the die hubbing process itself rather than just a strike time anomaly. In a double die error, the die itself was improperly made, and every coin struck with that die carries the same mistake, which makes those coins particularly collectible since they are reproducible and easily attributable once discovered. And while not all doubling is dramatic, some of it may require magnification. There are known 2014 D examples with strong doubling, and these have been verified by grading companies like PCGS or NGC and sold for far more than $23, though the $23 figure remains a solid benchmark for commonly available examples in decent condition. And beyond doubling and die chips, we also find examples of 2014 D pennies exhibiting off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned with the planchet leading to part of the coin's face being missing or displaced, and in some instances where the coin is struck 5% to 15% off-center but still displays a full date and mint mark, it becomes highly desirable to collectors because it captures the dramatic nature of the error without obscuring the features that make the coin identifiable, making it both educational and collectible. And then we have the infamous plating bubbles, small raised blisters or domes that form on the coin's surface when gas or air becomes trapped between the zinc core and the copper plating during the strike. These bubbles vary in size and can appear anywhere on the coin, but are most commonly seen on Lincoln's face, shoulder, or the fields surrounding the portrait. And although these plating issues are technically manufacturing defects, in the eyes of collectors they add character and scarcity, especially when the bubbles are large or unusually located. And many 2014 D pennies with prominent plating bubbles have been sold at coin shows, online auctions, and local shops for prices exceeding $23 when the flaw is prominent and appealing. And don't forget about struck-through grease errors either. These occur when excess grease, oil, or other debris clogs the die and prevents full details from transferring to the coin during the strike. The result is often a blurry or incomplete design that lacks sharpness. And while such coins may seem damaged at first glance, they are in fact highly collectible if the struck-through area is large or covers significant parts of the design, such as the motto, date, or Lincoln's face. And many struck-through grease errors on the 2014 D penny are subtle, requiring careful examination, but some are dramatic enough to be spotted immediately, and when certified by a grading authority they can sell for prices well beyond their face value. And another possibility to consider is the presence of misaligned dies, which occur when the obverse and reverse dies are out of alignment, and cause one side of the coin to be slightly off from the other, sometimes leading to a tilted design or rim distortion. These are distinct from off-center strikes and are judged based on their severity and visual impact, and the best examples with sharp details and clear misalignment often command prices in the $10 to $30 range, with some exceptional pieces reaching higher depending on condition. And what makes the 2014 D penny especially appealing to error hunters is the sheer number of coins produced, over 4 billion struck at the Denver Mint alone, which paradoxically increases the odds that a few escaped with errors while making error-free coins extremely common and essentially worthless beyond their face value. So if you're examining a pile of 2014 D pennies, chances are most of them will be standard and unremarkable, but with a trained eye and patience, one may uncover an error coin that transforms that 1 cent into a $23 collectible, especially if the error is paired with a high grade, which brings us to an important factor: condition. Because the value of error coins is not just about the error itself, it also depends on how well the coin has been preserved. Coins that are uncirculated, with full luster, no contact marks, and sharp details command the highest prices, and it is not uncommon for a lower-grade error coin to sell for just a few dollars while the same error in mint state condition sells for 4 or 5 times more. And third-party grading plays a crucial role here because companies like PCGS and NGC not only verify the authenticity of the coin and its error, but also assign a numerical grade that makes valuation easier and resale more attractive to potential buyers. So if you find a 2014 D penny with what appears to be a legitimate error, it is well worth considering submission for professional grading and encapsulation, especially if you plan to sell or hold it as an investment. And while some may argue that modern coins like the 2014 D penny are too recent to hold real value, the truth is that the collecting community has embraced modern mint errors with enthusiasm, and collectors are always looking for new varieties to add to their sets. And with the rise of online coin forums, YouTube channels, TikTok collectors, and social media groups, awareness of error coins has exploded in recent years, leading to increased demand, higher prices, and a greater appreciation for the complexities of the minting process. Last, today we're unraveling one of the most astonishing stories in numismatic history that revolves around a seemingly ordinary yet surprisingly valuable 1994 1-cent coin from the United States, which has shocked collectors and casual observers alike by commanding an impressive price of $205 due to a variety of intriguing errors, rare minting mistakes, and unforeseen anomalies that have catapulted this penny from pocket change to prized collectible. And as we begin this deep dive into the factors that have made the 1994 1-cent coin worth big money, we'll uncover everything from its mintage details, mint mark variations, striking errors, planchet issues, doubling problems, misalignments, die cracks, off-center strikes, wrong metal compositions, transitional errors, and collector demand, which have all contributed to the soaring value of this little copper-plated coin that now enjoys an elite status in numismatic circles and among everyday people who have stumbled upon these valuable Errors often without knowing the fortune they held until an appraisal or auction revealed the truth. So let's begin by understanding the basic context of the 1994 1-cent coin, which was minted in large quantities across the Philadelphia and Denver mints with no mint mark and AD mint mark respectively, and although it was mass-produced with billions of examples entering circulation. What truly sets some of these 1994 pennies apart is a small set of production mishaps and overlooked imperfections that turned them into unexpected collector's items, because while most of these coins were struck correctly using standard procedures and high-pressure dies, some coins escaped quality control, bearing stunningly unique flaws that have since been catalogued by experts and enthusiastically pursued by hobbyists due to their rarity and visual appeal, beginning with one of the most common and visually striking errors being the double die obverse, which is where the design elements on the obverse side, such as the date, the motto, "In God We Trust," or the word, "Liberty," appear double due to a misalignment or shift during the hubbing process where the coin's die receives its impression. And while not every 1994 cent has this error, those few that do show a noticeable doubling, particularly around the date and letters, have become hot commodities, often fetching well over $200 depending on clarity and condition, especially if they are found in uncirculated or near mint state. And another remarkable error that has driven up the value of specific 1994 cents is the off-center strike, where the coin blank, known as the planchet, was not properly centered under the die during striking, resulting in a coin where parts of the design are missing or misaligned. And such off-center strikes are not only rare but highly valued among collectors, especially if the error is dramatic, say 10% to 60% off-center, and the date is still visible, making it easy to authenticate and assign value. And then there are coins that were struck on the wrong planchet entirely, such as when a penny is mistakenly struck on a dime planchet, resulting in a smaller diameter coin that lacks the full design because of the size mismatch. And such errors are incredibly rare and can lead to huge auction prices, sometimes exceeding several $100s, especially when verified by top grading companies. And speaking of planchets, the 1994 cent was supposed to be composed of zinc coated in copper plating, but there are confirmed reports of transitional errors where a planchet from a previous or different composition year was used accidentally. And if a 1994 cent was struck using a solid copper planchet instead of the zinc core version due to leftover blanks in the minting machinery, it would be considered a transitional error and could be worth a small fortune, particularly if confirmed by a metallurgical analysis or certified by reputable grading agencies like PCGS or NGC. And then there's the striking error known as broad strikes, where the coin is struck without a collar, which allows the metal to expand outward, producing a coin that is larger in diameter and lacking the typical edge details. And while some collectors prefer centered broad strikes with full readable design, others treasure those slightly distorted versions, as each one is a truly unique piece of minting history. And there's also the well-documented clipped planchet error, which occurs when a blank is punched from a metal sheet too closely to another blank, resulting in a crescent-shaped clip missing from the edge of the coin. And these clips can range in size and shape, but the most desirable examples have clear and defined clips that don't affect the legibility of the date or mint mark, making the 1994 clipped planchet cents quite attractive on the market. And further adding to the pool of valuable errors are the die cracks, which happen when a coin die begins to crack after extensive use and transfers those cracks onto every coin it strikes. And while small die cracks may not add significant value, dramatic or spiderweb-like die cracks, especially those that stretch across Lincoln's portrait or between the letters and date, can add considerable interest and make such coins collectible, especially to error specialists who hunt down such anomalies. And then we must consider the appeal of misaligned die strikes, where either the obverse or reverse die is slightly misaligned during striking, creating a tilted appearance where one side of the coin is noticeably off-center relative to the other. And these may look subtle at first, but upon inspection show misaligned designs that command attention and elevated values, particularly in higher grades. And one of the lesser-known but important contributors to the 1994 cents value is the possibility of repunched mint marks, especially on Denver mint coins, where the D mint mark may appear doubled or overlapping due to manual punching errors before the advent of laser-punched mint. Marks and such repunched mint marks or RPMs can be subtle but are eagerly sought by variety hunters and are cataloged in error guides, adding another dimension to the value of these coins. And while errors account for much of the $205 value, there's also a huge factor involving the condition and grade of the coin, as coins in mint state condition with full red color designated as MS65RD or higher by PCGS or NGC can command premiums even without major errors, simply because high-grade examples of older coins are becoming harder to find due to circulation wear and environmental damage, and so a 1994 cent with blazing red surfaces, sharp details, and no spots or damage could easily surpass $100 in certified condition, and when paired with even a minor error or variety, the price could reach or exceed $205 as collectors compete to own the best available specimen. And another factor adding to the intrigue and rising value is the growing popularity of penny collecting among the younger generation and hobbyists who have rediscovered numismatics thanks to social media, YouTube, and viral videos that highlight rare coin finds, encouraging millions of people to search their pocket change and piggy banks for hidden treasures. And this increased demand has driven up auction prices and created fierce competition for coins like the 1994 penny with any type of unique characteristic, especially when professionally graded and authenticated. And it's also important to understand how grading itself impacts value, as a raw coin with a visible error might sell for $20 to $50, but once slabbed and graded by a recognized service, the same coin could triple or quadruple in price depending on rarity, eye appeal, and population. Reports would show how many similar coins have been certified and their relative scarcity, and that scarcity is also influenced by regional and temporal discoveries, meaning if a group of error coins was found in a specific roll or bag from a bank in one state and never widely distributed, then those coins could become highly prized regionally and attract big offers, especially from collectors trying to complete sets of errors or mintier variations. And that's why stories continue to surface of people finding a 1994 penny in old jars or rolls and discovering it's worth over $200 due to one of these exceptional errors. And to make matters even more exciting, some of these valuable cents may still be out there in circulation as they were never pulled or slabbed, which means your next grocery store transaction or coin jar dump could yield a high-value 1994 error cent waiting to be discovered. And the thrill of this possibility has made everyday people start examining their change more closely, often with a magnifying glass or coin loop in hand, as they seek the doubling in liberty, the shifted D-mint mark, the off-center rim, or the distinctive color and weight of a wrong planchet. And while finding one may be statistically unlikely, the fact that people are still making these discoveries today proves that persistence can pay off and adds to the cultural lore surrounding rare pennies. And the specific story of the 1994 1 cent that sold for $205 involves an example with a sharp off-center strike combined with visible doubling in the date and partial blockage on the reverse side, which made it a textbook case of multiple errors.